I gave. I showed up. I stayed loyal. I brought value. But they didn't notice. They didn't respect it. They grew comfortable with my presence and blind to my sacrifice. So I left. Not with drama. Not with a meltdown. Just quiet. Cold. Done. They say hindsight is a brutal teacher. I met that teacher in rooms lit only by the glow of unfinished work. Rooms where the clock mocked me past midnight. Every late night call I answered, every emergency I solved, every dream I fueled that wasn't mine, carved another slice from my ribcage. They called it teamwork. I called it slow bleeding. They clapped when it was convenient, posted public praise. But behind those thin smiles was the smug ease of people certain the sun would rise for them, whether I showed up or not. I once mistook that routine for love, staying until the tank hit fumes and pretending the fumes were enough. I kept promising myself that one more miracle, one more sacrificial act would make them finally open their eyes. Yet every win only raised the bar they dangled above my head. The more I delivered, the less it mattered. My worth depreciated in their ledgers because it never failed their expectations. Excellence became background noise. Familiarity dulled their senses until my fire felt like ordinary warmth they believed they were entitled to. There were nights the silence rang louder than applause. I'd drive home through traffic that crawled like regret, replaying conversations where they praised my grind while hinting I should slow down for their comfort, never for my health. I'd lie in bed, palms up, staring at a ceiling darker than my mood, tallying unreturned favors stacked on my chest like bricks. Those bricks taught me to hold my breath until dawn. It wasn't weakness that pinned me down. It was loyalty grown heavy. They fed on that loyalty because I kept refilling the trough. I remember the missed birthdays, the canceled dinners, the half-hearted, "we'll make it up to you." They never did. I remember handing over blueprints that took me years to forge, only to watch them slap their logos on my sweat and sell it as their own. Still I stayed, convinced my day would come. It did, just not in the way they imagined. It flipped on an ordinary Tuesday. No lightning strike, no fresh betrayal, just a moment of surgical clarity. I was pouring coffee in the break room when I noticed the cup was cracked. Dark liquid bled down my wrist, warm, then chilling. A perfect metaphor for my devotion. I stared at that fracture and saw every split they had ignored in me. Something inside crystallized. I wiped my hand, tossed the cup, and knew the next thing I'd discard was their entitlement. I didn't draft a farewell email or call a meeting. Drama is currency for those still begging to matter. I owed them nothing louder than my absence. That evening, I cleared my desk with the precision of a surgeon removing a tumor. Slow, deliberate, final. No outbursts, no tears, just a cold exhale as the door clicked behind me. That click sounded like thunder because silence always booms in rooms accustomed to my voice. While they refreshed their feeds for validation, I was offline building systems that scale beyond applause. I devoured books they'd never heard of, coded frameworks they dismissed as too ambitious, lifted iron until the bar rattled like future earthquakes. I weaponized solitude. I converted every slight into kinetic energy and invested it in skills that mint legacy instead of likes. They still gather in the same circles, trading gossip for comfort, clinking glasses to toast mediocrity. Their skyline never rises, it only flickers with neon distractions. They chase status, fleeting, flimsy, dictated by the fickle tongues of strangers. I chase legacy, quiet, permanent, carved into structures that will outlive our bones. They see me now as a ghost, a rumor people reference in hushed regret. They quote my old lines to motivate new recruits, forgetting those lines were forged in nights they never stayed awake for. They'll ask where I went, why I don't return calls. The truth? I'm busy stretching the horizon too far for their eyesight. Cold-blooded isn't cruelty, it's clarity minus permission. I don't hate them. Hate implies they still own a piece of my energy, and that account closed the moment the cracked cup bled on my hand. I feel nothing, and nothing is the most expensive thing I possess. It cost me every misplaced affection. They'll miss the energy that electrified stale rooms. They'll miss the consistency that glued their shaky plans together. They'll miss the presence that turned chaos into choreography. But they won't get it back. Access revoked, permanently. I walk streets no one maps, guided by an inner compass magnetized to greatness, not gratitude. Each sunrise is capital. I invest it in training, building, refining. My circle is smaller now. Razor sharp, no filler. Every handshake is a partnership, not a plea. Every project is a statement, not a favor. When I sit at a table, I bring enough value to feed nations, and if the spread is shallow, I stand and build a better table from the lessons they ignored. Messages arrive. We should catch up. Translation: we finally understand what you were worth. I leave them unread, the digital echo of the real-life silence they offered me. They scroll through my wins like tourists outside a palace gate, craning their necks to trace the stones they once stepped on. Good luck. The blueprint is encrypted in scars they refuse to acknowledge. Legacy tastes like iron and midnight oil, like 4 a.m. air before the world clutters with mediocrity. While they argue over credit, I accumulate impact. While they refresh metrics, I refresh my mindset. My life is version control. Each commit merges discipline with audacity. Failure is a test case, not a verdict. Success is a deploy, not a destination. And gratitude? That's in-house. I printed myself in rooms they'll never enter. I hear rumors they're drafting a tribute, a belated anthem to the value they mispriced. Let them sing. Eulogies are for the dead, and I'm very much alive. Too alive to attend funerals, held for the version of me they suffocated under indifference. I left no forwarding address because evolution doesn't send postcards. Departure isn't revenge, it's release. It's unshackling brilliance from cheap seats. The real punishment is what I took with me. My spark, my systems, my relentless practice, and the vacuum that remains. Addicts miss the drug the moment it's gone. They never remember abusing the dosage. They'll pace those familiar halls, searching for the pulse that once set their rhythm. All they'll find is silence, dense enough to choke on. You might call this heartless. You'd be wrong. My heart is a fortress, walls fortified by every overlooked hour, every thankless fix, every ignored boundary. It beats harder now, not because it's bitter, but because it's unburdened. I owe loyalty only to vision, respect only to grind, love only to those who reciprocate with equal flame. Everyone else gets distance. It's quiet where I operate. No applause track, no committee, just the steady hum of progress. I'm both architect and engine, drafting horizons while hammering foundations. My name may fade from their conversations, but my impact won't. One day they'll tour a building, use a product, quote an idea, and feel a familiar undertone. That undertone will be me, present in the mortar of excellence, absent in the rooms where gratitude died. I don't look back. Rearview mirrors are for drivers afraid of being overtaken. I race shadows of who I was yesterday and lap him before breakfast. I calibrate my compass daily. North is whatever scares me. Comfort is the new opponent. Every comfort zone conquered becomes another acre of liberated territory. I plant flags there, not for show, but to remind the future never to settle. And if they ever whisper that I changed, let the record show. I evolved. Evolution is change with purpose, change that refuses to beg for permission. They could have come along. Tickets were free, back when belief mattered more than recognition. They chose balcony seats in the arena of complacency. The show went on without them. They didn't notice. They forgot the cost of consistency. Now they'll pay the price of absence. You didn't appreciate me when I was around. Now sit with the silence I left behind. You'll miss me, but I won't miss you.